turn it loose. Questions?
What do you guys get out of the bye week?
Oh man, I think the two things always is number one, getting some guys rested. Certainly plenty of guys who have played a lot of football and had some physical games, getting them rehab and rested was I think critical. And I think from the staff, again, so much of it is you're going from 1 week to the next. The bye week gives you a second to slow down, really analyze what you're doing well, what you need to improve on, and extremely valuable for us there.
Vanderbilt dominated the clock against Alabama, and so when you have less possessions, what kind of pressure does that put on you guys to try to put some points up?
I think it puts pressure for sure. We've kind of went that way as well in a couple of these games. I think versus Ole Miss, I think we had it for about 40 minutes, and I think the Georgia game was similar to that. So, again, we're focused on whatever we got to do to win football games, and you're absolutely right. You get those limited possessions, you got to make those count. You got to try to steal some possessions. So that'll be the battle certainly this week.
Feels like the offense has kind of slowly kind of improved week by week. How do you make sure that the bye week doesn't stall that progress?
I think it's critical. We've had really good physical practices. I think certainly in the bye week we practiced 3 times, got guys good work. They've been out here working hard. Again, maybe there's always that part of just getting out of rhythm a little bit from taking a week off, but again, we're working through it and ready to go.
What do you think a big play like the one Berrien had can help him kind of break through after struggling to kind of stack up those weeks?
I think it's critical. Again, for so many guys, it's just a confidence thing. You make one of those plays, and then it just kind of gets contagious, and more guys keep making them. Again, I think that's critical for us. I think that's critical across the board. When you look at college football right now, creating those big plays is somewhat getting harder and harder when you're playing in this league. Again, we look at the scores across the league every week right now. Like, it's not always what you expect it to be. So limiting turnovers, creating explosives, going to be a critical thing, as we know, and that's what we're working to do.
So why is it our defense is just playing to take away the big play?
I think a little bit,
more
I
so
think
than they have in the past.
I think so, and sometimes you see in the NFL right now those games are lower scoring, and I just think everybody's on it. It used to probably just be the focus of turnovers. Now I think it's turnovers and explosives and what those do to the outcome of a game. So again, there's at times, maybe I thought, hey, we'd be getting more tight coverage. We've been getting softer coverage and had to take little by little, and I think you're seeing that league wide. So, but what that means is a lot of those explosive plays have got to come from balls caught underneath, making a guy miss, creating those explosives both in the run and pass. And that's what we're looking forward to.
Coach, as Brock continues to make progress, what's the next step for him maybe on some of the sacks he's taken that he's holding on the ball too long? Does that just come with experience, since he hadn't started in so long?
I think a lot of that comes on me as well, and us analyzing what are the things that we've got to do better to get the ball out of his hands. What are the protections that we have been better at? So I think it always starts with our staff. It starts with me in that regard. I think naturally, again, we've talked about this. This is the 6th game the guy's played, and he is steady. He's got everything you want in a quarterback from a leadership standpoint, from a skill set standpoint. I'll take a lot of the ownership on that with the protection piece, and he's got to just keep building.
You've played a lot of 12 personnel, and in a lot of instances you've asked those tight ends to help in pass protection. How have they performed in that aspect?
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job. They really are. That position's got to get a lot of the dirty work done, as you guys know. And a lot of times, from a matchup standpoint, they're going up against some of the best pass rushers in the country. And so again, guys like Josh Caddis, Jordan Dingle, Willie's doing a nice job. Kamari will continue to build. I think the biggest thing for this whole offense, as you guys know, it's constant state of improvement, 1 week at a time. That's the message, and we just need to continue to take a step in that pass pro. And if we do, I think it'll be a huge plus for us.
What have you seen out of Vanderbilt's defense this season and most recently in that game against Alabama?
Certainly playing really inspired, on all levels. I mean, I think it's a talented group. I think there's D linemen that we think are really good players. There's good backers. There's good secondary. But it's a blue-collar operation, in a lot of ways. Like, the message in our building is they're probably a lot like us, and they play with a chip on their shoulder. It's going to be a physical outfit. Certainly, head coach now calling it, the amount of defense he has. I mean, this is this is a group that knows who they want to be, and this is a defensive coordinator that does an outstanding job of mixing a lot of different things.
Yeah, Bush, I'm curious, like, from a coach's perspective, what was your initial reaction when you saw that sort of outcome? It's such a rare thing that you sort of see. It made its way around the college football world like in a blaze. How do you look at something like that initially, and then how does that also just open up and add to being like, hey, anyone can beat anybody in this league?
Yeah, I think you said it. I think that's the reaction is across college football, and more so than anything in the SEC right now. Every game can go either way in a lot of those ways. I mean, we're certainly happy for Vanderbilt to accomplish what they accomplished as just a football fan watching it. A win for them and probably how much work they've put in. But certainly watching them on both sides of the ball, the way they're playing, how inspired they're playing, it's going to be a great challenge for us. And I think that's the message. You look across the board in this league, if you're feeling yourself one week, you could get hit in the mouth. And when you're coming off South Carolina and the world's crashing, you get right back to work and switch things up. That's the message, is constant state of improvement, 1 week at a time is a long year, and these players have done a hell of a job with that.
Bush, what else needs to happen for you guys to run the football even better? I know, Brock's is comfortable on the second and four is a lot more than the second and 10 second.
Yeah, I think we're doing a nice job of running the football. You look across the board, certainly against some of the better defenses in this league. I think we obviously, from a pass game standpoint, need to continue to complement our run game. We've gotten different ball carriers involved for us. I think, the biggest thing is we need to create the big one, and there hasn't necessarily been the 40, 45-yarder, 50-yarder explosive type play. So a lot of it feels like little by little by little. I think if we can create some of those big ones, make a guy miss, just like Barryon's play at the end of that game, that could be something that really springs us. But again, we've been pleased with the different ball carriers. I think Gavin Wimsatt's adding a nice dimension. Brock's, Demi, and there's a different group of guys that are doing that and bought into whatever it takes.
Do you feel like Wilcox is close to popping one of those big runs?
I think so. I really do. And I think for a young guy again who's been in that situation, who 4 weeks ago we maybe didn't think was going to have the opportunities he's had, it comes down for him, weekly preparation, and how do I keep getting better, and what do I got to do better to play as a young 18, 19-year-old, and we're proud of what he's doing.
Do you like where the package is with Wimsatt right now, and what might you be able to add to it?
Yeah, I think it's always fine-tuning of that, to make sure like Brock's still out there and keeping him in rhythm, and it's sometimes you never want to take the quarterback away from that position too long and so on and so forth. But Gavin's done a tremendous job. I think in a lot of ways, nobody's as fired up for it as Brock, because there's 8 to 10 runs a game that Gavin's taking some hits off of him. And so certainly want to continue to grow that package. Again, this isn't, Gavin Wimsatt is not a Wildcat quarterback. This is a guy that can throw it. You saw that against Ohio, and I think that's unique in the defensive looks we're getting are not looks to just stop him running the ball. They're certainly respecting his passing ability, and so we just got to continue to build that.
Everybody good?